So I'm Anna Jones from the Society of Occupational Medicine with COHPA, or the Commercial Occupational Health Providers Association. So we kind of represent, well, some represents the occupational health industry more from the medical side and consultants, whereas COHPA was for commercial providers. And the mission of COHPA was to advance health and well-being within the workplace. So I think where we're coming from now, combining resources, is to really to educate people what occupational health actually is and how it can benefit employees, and to facilitate every employer having access to occupational health, because health and well-being in the workplace is so vital. Occupational health is about it's about making sure that your work does not affect your health, which is things like if it's very loud, you wear ear defenders. If it's a spray painting factory, you need to check your lungs so you're not getting any lung damage. So that's a very practical sort of, looking at the risks and making sure you're protected from those risks. More on a physical side of things, but it's also about how your health affects your work. Looking at making reasonable adjustments for people that have neurodiversity or disabilities, but also just making sure that you're happy within your work, and you're healthy and you're enjoying your workplace, and it's not causing you too much stress, or either physically or emotionally.
Yeah, so that we can have a better relationship with
Yeah.
our work. And I think we were talking before offline about that work in the past maybe has had a bit of a bad reputation, right? Like
Yeah.
work, oh no, work on Mondays, the Sunday night blues. And actually, can we somehow think about this field of work as a way of actually shifting that perspective and just embracing work a little bit more, because it does play such a positive role to our fulfillment, our identity, our social connection.
So if you look at from a psychological point of view and Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-fulfillment is one of those needs, and you get that through working, and you were saying about becoming a mum. All of a sudden you're a mum and you're no longer you, and what you get when you go into the workplace is you can be you. So it supports a lot of those emotional needs. And it's been proven that if you're out of work for more than 6 weeks or 7 weeks, it's much harder to get back into work. But the government have got all these masses of hundreds of thousands of people off work. It's costing billions of pounds to the government, and what occupational health is trying to do is to get those people, stop them being off work in the first place, and then to get them back into the workplace as well, because that one is better for the individual, better for the employer, and also will have huge cost savings for the government.
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, and so excuse my sort of slight bit of lack of context of this particular sort of audience that you're working with, but to me it feels like occupational health is more established than, say, well-being. How do you think, what do you think? Because I feel like there's a real merge of all different types of roles that are coming at this, right?
I think it's a really exciting time, because since COVID, for whatever reason, there's more people off sick, and it's become, mental health has become much more sort of talked about, and it's okay not to be okay nowadays, where 10 years ago you had to be okay. I think occupational health is very medical, and it's really a reactive industry at the moment. So when people are poorly, they get referred, they go and see somebody, and that person then says, this is what we need to do to make you better, or this is what you need to do. Say someone's off with cancer, you come back on a phased return, you do 1 day, then you do 2 days, but it's getting them back into the workplace. What sort of well-being in my head is more about being slightly more proactive and looking at how do we keep people in the workplace happy and healthy, and so they don't fall off the horse, as I keep calling it. They stay in the workplace. So that's looking at managing anxiety, managing physical symptoms, keeping them physically strong and emotionally strong. And that's how I see the wellbeing marketplace. what we need in wellbeing, I think, is a bit more less flakiness and a bit more quantitative, qualitative data to support the products that are coming through. And, there's some amazing companies here looking at the triggers for emotion. But we need probably some more information for HR and finance to sort of qualify how it works and to prove that it works.
Yes. So if there was a bit of a pipeline within an organization of sort of like the mechanisms in place. It might be that the well-being services and things are sort of like first because they're preventing.
Yeah.
But then when something does come up, we're moving into the health services to help support you when you are experiencing something, maybe as a result of not dealing with it before, or just things that come up like cancers, which may come up regardless of what you did before, right? So that's actually that makes good sense. But what are you saying there about maybe Oc Health kind of moving also into a more preventative?
Well, I think at the
space?
moment, occupational health is you're poorly, and then you'll be assessed, and then they've got everything in place for you to you'll either go and see a physio, you'll go and see a counsellor, you'll go and see somebody. What I think is not being done, but they are looking at, is more diagnostics of disease management, diabetes, heart disease. But also with trigger factors of what causes stress and anxiety and therefore burnout or you falling off, so you just can't get into work. So things like here, fertility treatment, I've noticed, that's a big one. Bereavement's another one. There's a divorce coach here. There's all those sort of triggers that everybody's always had to cope with in everyday life. But actually they're really, really hard. So with a bit of support from your employer, that person might still be at work but not really performing to their maximum. But with a couple of weeks of counselling and some help, and don't worry about the finances, we'll sort that out, they will be much more productive than if you just let them be and sort of let them cope on their own. So that's how I think wellness is really, really fitting in with occupational health now. And some of the larger OH providers I know are looking in that marketplace as well.
Yeah, great. And so then in terms of the responsibility, because of course we're here today to kind of really bolster and help organizations to understand the services, understand the challenges and how to overcome them and to, do more. But what about the employees themselves, right? Because ultimately this isn't just the employer's responsibility. Employees, individuals, we have a responsibility ourselves, don't we, to advocate for ourselves, to access things, to take action.
There's two things to that. One is that I think this is a personal point of view, so don't quote me on this. It's not statistically, but there's two things. One is that people aren't particularly responsible for their own health and well-being yet. We are a culture where we've had the NHS and we've relied on the NHS. So we are very like, I'm not very well, I'll go and take a packet of pills. As a nation, we need to look at maybe taking more personal responsibility for our health, I think, and looking at how we can diet, exercise, and then also looking for the support that's out there. But from personal experience, when you are going through something like bereavement, you are kind of so overwhelmed that you need someone to help you, to hold your hand and to take you through that. So I was listening just before to a chat about how AI can help. And it might be just as simple as a marker that says this person's not okay, they're going through a bereavement, but this is our policy for bereavement, this is what the financial implication of it is, so that at least they feel like they've got a couple of the questions answered.
Yeah. I actually, out of all of the sessions, that was one that I really wanted to get to. We've not had a chance because of all of our podcasts. But what was the product that they've got? How does the AI work? How does it read?
It wasn't a product. They were just saying how to use AI in a wellbeing strategy. Yeah. And that comes back to, I think before we were recording, was that, companies do need to have a health strategy. They need to develop how they're going to look after their workforce. When I was coming into the marketplace, we were allowed 4 weeks holiday and that was it. But the demand from employees now, going back to employees, is very different. And people, they demand a culture. They want a good culture to work for. And, if you provide that, they will stay. And an employer should be responsible, I feel, and take some responsibility for the health of their employers.
Yeah.
The aim is for every single employer to have some sort of health and wellbeing strategy.
Yeah. Someone said before that in a session they went in, someone asked the question, how many organisations here have a wellbeing lead? And out of however many people were there, a decent sized audience apparently, only 4 actually put their hand up. Now, we surround ourselves in our community with people who do exactly that job, so I forgot that it's actually still that
50% of SMEs don't access occupational health.
Yeah.
And part of my job role with COHPA was to basically support the OH industry by getting business leads in. So I would speak to a couple of SMEs on a daily basis. And I remember, just one SME, there were 10 employees and his best friend was his business partner and he got cancer. And he was crying because he's like, my whole business might go down because of this. And that's the pressure that an SME is under when someone is sick. And that's why we do need the government to support funding. But this funding is going to be supported by more people understanding what occupational health is, more people asking for it, and more people embracing it and putting together those health strategies.
Yeah, amazing. And so when we're looking at Occ health, wellbeing, I think particularly with wellbeing, there's been a view that it sort of just fits in with benefits and perks and things like that. But now there's a shift in that conversation to making it more about outcomes. The well-being of your workforce is an outcome of your business, just like your profit, your bottom line. What do you think about that?
I think that's a really nice idea in principle. I think it goes back to that quantitative qualitative research that we're all running businesses and we would love to be able to buy every single employee a beautiful bunch of flowers every time it's their birthday. But, we have to look at the finances. So with any of these, wellbeing programs or, OH programs as well, we have to have some kind of a return on our investment or some sort of quantitative and qualitative research that suggests, even if it's not financial, but there's a research that says that your employees are more resilient, they're happier, they're more contented, they want to stay in their job. So there has to be some kind of research and data to demonstrate the actual benefit of it and why you're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you a couple more sort of slightly more personal questions. You touched before on your own connection to sort of a personal motivation or context of why you believe in this work. What more can you say about that in general? Like how important is that in sort of supporting you as a practitioner in this space, as someone working in this space? Like, where does it come from? Your interest in this.
I suppose I've started off working, I've got a degree in psychology, so I've always been interested in people. It was a psychology with business, so I wanted to combine the two. I started off in sort of pharmaceutical marketing and more patient information. So it's always been about making people informed and making people are educated, and that we are responsible for our own health. I work for a nutraceutical company. I've got a mad obsession with gut biome. I'm really sorry about that.
Oh, it's fascinating.
But I suppose it's just, it's about helping people and making sure that, an employer has a massive responsibility, in my opinion, to make sure that people at work are happy and healthy. And if we can just help that employee journey, if they are poorly, to be as good as it can be, then great. And if we can actually stop them from being poorly, by managing their physical or physical stress or emotional stress, how amazing is that? So
and last question then so you sort of touched on it there, but given that our audience is people who are working in these roles within organisations, and that we definitely have a sort of a discussion at times about career and career pathways. What advice would you give to someone who is new in their career in well-being or occupational health, in terms of, you know, building a career in this space?
Ooh, let me have a think.
Yeah, feel free to take your time. We can.
I think you have to be passionate. You're not doing it, you have to be passionate and want to make a difference. Obviously, everybody's in business to make money, so I get that. But I think be passionate, be very clear on what your messages are. What who your audiences are, as in with any business, and what the benefit to the employee is, and what's the benefit to the employer. And that's where your data will probably come in. So the employer will want hard facts of quantitative and qualitative data of why your product or your service is worth buying, and what is the benefit to the employee at the end of the day. And look at the niches. Like I've said today, there's bereavement, there's fertility, cycle to work. Where are the niches? Where are people not doing something at the moment?
Yeah. Does it feel really does it feel like a bit of a new time in terms of these products that are popping up? Like I saw Maven, the fertility product, and
I think it's exciting because of pre-COVID it was musculoskeletal, but post-COVID it's all about emotional well-being, which is brilliant, and also a lot of financial well-being because of what's going on, with interest rates and everything. So the EAP is now sort of been seen to not really be good enough in a way. And it's about finding much better, more specific products to help people when they're going through a tough time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you what I found interesting when I accessed, because I also do an NHS role at part-time. I found it really interesting when I tried to access the EAP when I was going through fertility treatment. I feel like everyone just kind of sees the EAP 6-session CBT, if you're just having a tough time at work. But actually, when you get in there, you can go there for anything, go there for something really specific. You could be, facing a relationship breakdown or, as I said, fertility treatment. And I feel like they're really underutilized systems.
It's not about fixing the problem. You can't fix the problem, but it's about teaching people the skills to manage the problem themselves. And I think that's all we're trying to do, isn't it? And a lot of this preventative, it's about skill sets, education, and pointing people in the right direction when sometimes they're so overwhelmed, they just don't know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got a go-to non-negotiable thing that helps you with your well-being? Living by the
I go in the
coast
sea every morning.
I knew it. I spotted you as a
no.
I want that.
Dog walking.
Stop it.
Dog walking. Cold water swimming.
You've got a dry robe, haven't you? You've got a dry robe.
No, I'm not one of those. No, that you can't pronounce in public. I have a specific reason, but I did buy myself a new pink and orange one the other day.
Good. Amazing. Oh, well, enjoy your deep sea dip tomorrow whenever you get back to Wales.
Friday.
Yes. Have a little submersion
I'll
for me as well.
Here.
Yeah, do. It's been so nice chatting to you, Anna, and we'd love to see you in the community. If you feel like having a little look, come in and contribute to the conversation. And I'm sure there'll be lots of people who would benefit from hearing some of your experience.
No, I'd love to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.